Alright guys, coming back at you with another knife video. Looking at a cool new model I've been anticipating for a while now since it was announced. This is the Kizer Feist. It's designed by Justin Lundquist. And you can follow him on Instagram. I'll link down in the description below. I think it's just at Justin Lundquist. So it's one of his designs based on one of his customs. And part of the Kizer Bladesmith series for this year. So it's a teeny small knife, as you can see here. Let me give you the specs here. Your item number is... S35 VN blade, titanium handle, 2.83 inches in blade length, so it's going to be, for those that have a 3-inch limit, will be nice and friendly for you there. Again, it's called the Feist. The model number for Kizer is KI3499. You get the typical stuff from Kizer, the little pouch and stuff. But I get the knife out of the box. I just got this from Blade HQ, and I look at the centering, and I'm like, what in the freak? I mean, look how bad that is. That is really bad. It's nearly rubbing, or is rubbing, right out of from the factory. That's just one of those annoyances. It's not a flaw of the, certainly not a flaw of the design of the knife. We'll talk about that. So I got it out and it's teeny. I knew it was going to be small, but it's, the thing about it, it's small, but it's usable, if that makes sense. So before I get into everything, I'm going to do it quick. I won't freaking sit because of that clip. Let's do it this way. Just some similar knives, because I know that the size is going to turn people off here. These are all small knives, guys. In fact, I would say this Victorinox, or this is a Wigner actually, is going to be probably the same size. It's like a Pioneer, the size of a Pioneer. And then there's the small Sabenza. You can see the small Sabenza is a titch bigger in the handle. And then another smaller knife is the Boker Mini Quaken, which is bigger than all of them. So just to give you kind of a size comparison, I usually do these later in the review, but I wanted to kind of start it out because I think, I don't really, I mean, you can look at specs and everything, but then you don't necessarily realize, you know, the size. I was real hesitant. Once I really saw the specs and everything, I was like, oh man, that thing is going to be really small. I don't know, it might be too small for me. I don't usually go smaller than a small Sabenza. Then I got it in hand, and it's very usable. I'm going to flip it. See, you got to get used to this. There we go. He tells you to use your side of your thumb and kind of roll it, and it works just fine. I don't know if you guys heard that. It's a little gritty action. We're going to get into that in a minute because I'm going to go over how well the design of the knife, stuff that I really like. So even though it is small, I can still get 4 fingers on it. There's no guard here or anything because of the front flipper, so it wouldn't be a real hard-used knife because you could slip up on the blade kind of easy. But for your typical EDC tasks and for how small of a knife, you wouldn't use it necessarily for heavy-duty things. It would be more of a light EDC task kind of knife. So let's go over the basic specs on this, guys. These are selling out all over the place. So it does have S35 VN steel on bearings. It is, sorry, totally lost my train of thought. Its overall length is 6.5 inches. You're looking at a 2.875 inch blade, 0.12 blade thickness. See, and it takes a little getting used to. It's not hard. It's got a pretty thin blade. Drop point blade, I'd call this more of a almost a modified Warncliffe sheep's foot type blade, kind of very similar to a lot of ZT's has. In fact, the one that comes to mind I have in my pocket today. This is the 808. This is the special edition Mullen Lab one. As you can see here, let's move that Sabenza out of the way. It's got a very similar blade shape to that. Very, very similar. So kind of similar to the 808 if you like that blade shape. A lot smaller blade though. Your handle length, this is what gets me, it's only 3.625 inches. It's very slim too, it's only 0.44, so it's not very thick in the handle. You can see the nice titanium backspacer and milled titanium clip. Frame lock obviously, and made in China. There's a big old sticker on it when I got it that said made in China that I took off. You can see the residue on the blade there. So yeah, the design is great. No qualms with that. It's a teeny knife, but it's still very usable. You can still get, you know, I can get a full finger grip. I wear medium gloves. So if you have large hands, this is going to be really small on you. But still, even if you choke down to 3 fingers, you're still very usable. A lot of usable knife. There is no jimping. Well, there is a little jimping right here, kind of back on the front flipper. That's more for the flipper. That's not necessarily functional for your thumb. It does have a crowned, rounded spine, which is a nice feature you find mostly on like Sebenzas and such. So that's a nice touch. The design elements of this knife is great. Justin did a fantastic job on the design. It's sleek, slim. It'll fit in your coin pocket. Just a real sheeple-friendly EDC knife. You can. One question I was asked before I reviewed it was, can you slow roll it? And you can, but you kind of have to. You see, you just kind of roll your thumb across, and you can slowly open the knife. So if you don't want to flip it open all fast, you're in public, or you want to be more discreet, you can do that. You can also kind of do like that, or obviously you can flick it out. Now I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't know if the audio is picking that up. It's a very gritty action. My two big qualms with this, and this has nothing to do with the design or the designer or anything, is the centering so far off out of the box. I just literally got this. Haven't messed with the pivot, which I'm sure I can. I'm a little nervous because they have this double-sided pivot that they keep doing, which is stupid. ZT did it on a lot of knives too, and they spin. So hopefully that doesn't happen when I try to adjust it. If not, it's going back to Blade HQ because I'm not going to put up with that centering. And it's gritty. I just think it needs to be cleaned. It's got a lot of oil in the pivots. So other than that, I mean, my first impressions are great as far as how the size. I thought it was going to be too small. I was hesitant to even order it. But then when I got it, I was like, oh, this isn't bad. And again, the small Sebenzas, you're probably, as far as a folding knife goes, you're closest. Or locking knife, I guess. This is a folding knife, but it's a slip joint. The Wenger, the Soldier, is almost identical in size. So if you like this size, then you're good to go. Same with the small Seb. You're not going to lose a lot with the small Sebenza. And this could be an alternative to a small Sebenza if you don't like them or if you want a flipper. But the action's horrible. It's gritty. So I'm going to have to take this apart, fix the centering, fix the action, kind of clean it out. Hopefully after that it's more usable. Because in its current state, I wouldn't, if I was at the store, I would have handed this back to him and said, give me a different one. That's kind of disappointing. This is my first Kizer that I've ever had out of the box that had that kind of horrible centering and bad action. Usually they're not gritty, they're smooth as can be, and they're, they have better action. And I got a knife recently from Blade HQ again, the DPX, the Urban that I just got and returned, had that horrible edge on it. The sharpening was just horrible on it. They didn't even go all the way. And I kind of starting to think that, man, it would be nice if they inspected their knives a little bit, because this one shouldn't have gone out the door. That one shouldn't have gone out the door. It's going to happen. They ship thousands of knives. But I don't know, it would take a little bit of extra time in the warehouse, guys, for you to inspect these before we go out, because, I almost went down and picked it up in person. I wish I would have. I would have told you to get me a different one. So anyway, love Blade HQ. They're great. Don't get me wrong. Good pricing, decently fast shipping, and the great selection. But the nice leaving this shop like this is kind of having me scratching my head a little bit. Anywho, that's my first impressions of the Feist by Kizer and Justin Lundquist. Awesome design. The front flipper works great. Again, you can slow roll that open, so it can be very discreet. Like almost the size of a slip joint style knife, but still locking. It's going to pass a lot of laws. It's very sleek and slender. So I like the design, and the size is actually fine. It's not the size. It's the... In fact, I actually really like it. It's great in your hand and has good ergonomics. Even though it's just kind of a basic, but they have some nice rounded edges on it. Some nice contouring. These are all rounded. So it's very smooth and sleek. There's no sharp edges anywhere. And the crown spine is really nice. The rounded spine is very, very cool. And the jimping on there is, again, strictly for the flipper. It does have a lock bar insert, so you're not going to have any lock stick or anything like that. So, but that's centering, though. Ugh. Alright, guys, I'll give you an update video once I get it taken apart, and if I decide to do that, or I may just send it back to Blade HQ and have them give me a different one before I even do anything like that. So, thanks for watching the video, and we will see you on the next one. Alright guys, instead of making a different video, I thought I'd just come back. I was able to fix the centering on the Feist like super easily just by adjusting the pivot. As I say that, it looks like it's actually loosened up again. But the centering's pretty solid on there. The action's still gritty, but I can get some compressed air and blow that out, and that'll probably be fine. So, no big deal. Still, though, I wish they would check those things before they ship the knives out. Nothing, you know, obviously Kizer Quality Control should have done it, and I think, you know, a dealer like Blade HQ should do that too, but that's just my opinion. I know it's probably hard to do with how many knives they sell, but I think if they did that, that would be that extra mile that people would be more willing to buy from them versus a competitor like maybe GP Knives or Knife Center, something like that. Some of their big competitors. I don't know. But overall, liking the knife more and more. The more I fiddle with it, I'll get that gritty action out, and then the centering was an easy fix, so no big deal there. Very cool little flipper from Justin Lundquist. Like the design quite a bit. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.